why do people see starting a business as a risk, but relying on one paycheck? Why do people do that? Most people do that.
Okay, thank you, Vida, for this question. Yeah, I'm gonna be sharing. So I'm gonna answer directly this question. So I'm gonna be sharing 3 points. For me, I'm still an employee and I'm doing this business as a side hustle. But why people see starting a business as a risk. So first point, you know, all our lives, we've been conditioned to believe that jobs equal security, right? So let's be real. Most of us grew up hearing, "Oh, go to school, get a good job, work hard, and you'll be secure," right? And that's the script we've been hearing. So when someone starts talking about, business or side hustles, it feels risky, not because it is risky, but because it goes against what we've always been taught. But think about this: is relying on your one paycheck from one employer really security, right? So if that job disappears tomorrow or you get laid off, like what's been happening here in Canada, right? At all this economic, all these tariff things. So one major vehicle manufacturing company based in the east coast of Canada, like closed, and then it affected hundreds of workers. So being laid off. So what's going to be left of you, right? So that's not security. That is dependency, right? So a second point is that you know. There is that fear of the unknown, and it is stronger than fear of staying stuck. You know, starting something new, especially a business, like it means you need to step out into the unknown, like out of your comfort zone, right? And for many people, that unknown feels scarier than staying stuck in a like a job that's slowly draining them, especially physically demanding jobs, right? Or if you don't even like your job, you're just working because you need the paycheck, right? So, but isn't it more risky, right, to stay in a place where you're overworked, you're underpaid, and still you're struggling to make ends meet, like especially with the high cost of living nowadays. Like prices are all going up, right? Even with all your effort, right? And the last point that I'm gonna share about this is that you know especially for the private sector. I am in the public sector, so I sort of have that security because we're protected. But then most of us, everyday people are working in the private sector. So job security is an illusion, especially, the changes that we're, observing at this day and time, right? We live in a time where layoffs, right, happen with zero warning. Like I see, like in LinkedIn, the professionals there looking for jobs because they've been laid off, right? So there's zero warning. Businesses close overnight because of the high cost of operating the business, and of course AI, right, and automation. So sort of replacing jobs, right, and that steady paycheck. So it's not as guaranteed as it seems to be maybe a decade ago. So, but when you build a business, even slowly, right, even part time, you're creating that something that's yours, right? And you're planting that seeds and that can grow into something that doesn't really disappear, with one meeting or just one company decision to close, right? So the real risk really isn't in starting your business or a side hustle. The real risk is really depending on just one income source, and that is a paycheck, and you cannot control that paycheck. So I think that's all for me, Vida. Thank you for that question.
Thank you so much. Yes,